All right. We are going to call this meeting to order at 7:03, and I did not pull up my agenda. Should have. Not prepared. I'm sorry.
This board would like to acknowledge the land acknowledgement and anti-racism statement, and now it's time for your roll call, Andrew.
All right. I think the only one we're missing right now is Joel. He said he might be a little bit late. So we'll get started without him. Him cover the land acknowledgement, anti-racism statement. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All right. Any opposed? All right, that passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have any objections to the consent agenda with the changes that were made and presented back to the board? All right, hearing no objections, then that passes by acclamation. Moving to announcements. Does anybody have any announcements? Linda?
Hi, let's see, we have 2 board vacancies that are currently open for filling. Hope somebody applies. The ACC committee also has vacancies. And just a quick announcement is that the county has now gone into a stage 2 burn ban. I don't know if anybody else wants to discuss that further, but that's all I have.
I thought you were taking that one, Linda.
I just wanted to get it posted, so that's why I brought it up this time too. It's just we keep increasing. I think that's been 23 days without any measurable rain in the state.
Right.
Is it not posted? I thought it was posted.
No, it's posted.
It is
Linda let us
posted.
know,
Oh, okay.
tonight, so that's up, and thanks for mentioning it again, Linda.
Okay, that's all.
I'll just make an announcement about so over the 4th of July holidays, we did have a fireworks ban. That's obviously still continuously in effect. Firecrackers are prohibited in Sun Valley. I did see a news article that said that our local fire chief did not get any calls during the 4th of July holiday, and I believe security had around 20 or so calls during the event. Yeah, I think things overall went fairly well. Obviously, there were still a few people who partook, but you know, we keep pushing the message, and you know, unfortunately, we don't always stop everybody, but the fire chief's article was, you know, they were pleasantly surprised with the South Whatcom fire area and the lack of calls that were needed to be responded to regarding that. Does anybody else have any other announcements?
Hey, this isn't an announcement, I guess. It's a reminder, though, that next week are the budget meetings. And so it'll be Wednesday and Thursday next week. And I forgot what time they start. I think 6:30 next week, Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you.
All right. Any other announcements?
I would just like to reiterate that we really do need some ACC committee members. So whatever we can do to try to get some more people involved, that would be fantastic.
Sign
How
up,
many
people.
open positions are there, Keith?
5 currently.
Okay.
Now, I do have a quick question. I guess we could do this in closed door. I have a question about someone who applied, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. So we could do it in the closed session, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right, and moving on to property owner comments.
Yep, first round of property owners' comments. I'll step back in here. We do have a hand raised from Kevin. I'll go ahead and bring Kevin over. If you could give your name and address. There you go, Kevin. Brought you over.
Or on mute though, Kevin.
You may need to, there we go.
Thanks. Kevin Nesbitt, Lake Louise Drive. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board, for giving me the opportunity to talk to you this evening. I will be brief in order to accommodate Kim's basketball needs, but I do want to, the reason I'm joining you this evening is to offer a compliment and then render an opinion on a matter or provide a suggestion. So I should preface this by saying that I'm a new member, and frankly, it's been hard to ignore the political divisiveness within the community. So I did a little research and I watched a lot of the recorded board meetings. Now that I've said it out loud, I think I need to reprioritize my life. But I watched a lot of the meetings, read a lot of the views and relative documents, and even got sucked into social media. And once you get past the vitriol and sophomore banter, you did find some persistent themes. So I want to make an effort and to say that, in my opinion, based on my remote observations, because I've never met any of you, that I think this board is striving to be transparent, equitable, consistent, and I would add inclusive. Yeah. So transparent, equitable, consistent, inclusive. So I want to mention this because you're all volunteers, and I think boards are often underappreciated. So I thought your display of these attributes deserved recognition. And actually, I want to give you an example that demonstrates this. So I called in a few meetings ago, and we were walking through the agenda. We got to the public comment period. I was waiting, and you saw me in there, recognized me, said my name, and then summarily went into a 2-hour closed door meeting. And during that 2 hours, I decided to move on with my life, but not before I wrote an email where I basically admonished you for doing that, because I didn't think that was being too inclusive. And immediately I received a reply. I sent it to the board, and I got a reply from the president apologizing and pledging to do better. And I mention this because, I'm not sure that course of action would have been the same with another board composition. So I was actually grateful for that. So, and that's my compliment. And then my suggestion, actually, as I was waiting just now, there's a lot of things I eventually someday would like to talk about. There's a lot of issues like beach parking and fireworks and Airbnbs and things like that. But the one I want to talk about tonight is the survey. So I think recently there was a survey that was administered to the membership, and I think it was spearheaded by the Long Range Planning Committee. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I want to say that I recognize the effort it takes to design and administer a survey, whether it's a mail questionnaire online or other means of distribution. And I think that 30% response rate which is very respectable. So I want to first congratulate you on that. I think that was successful by any measure. But I couldn't find any detailed results online. So I only saw some very high level graphs and charts. And I looked at them, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Half the members live in Sun Valley more than X years or whatever. But the results didn't really speak to me in terms of providing a practical tool. It was more of a curiosity. So I'd like to propose that the survey be elevated and restructured and become, in order to provide a valuable tool that could be used to inform policies and board actions. It can also be used to gauge member satisfaction and priorities. It can be used to measure policy effectiveness. It takes, and I'm not really sure how to convey this, but there's a big difference between a sort of a casual, sporadic survey and a survey like a longitudinal survey designed to consistently capture data over a long period. The latter uses a more rigorous scientific method, and it's a little more work up front, but not too much additional cost. So, with a good instrument, I think one of your biggest, the budget is one of your biggest tasks, right? And it's become more complicated with the recent passage of that state law. But, you can use a survey. It's a good instrument to engage the membership and solicit feedback. But perhaps the most valuable use would be to help prioritize budget items, which is what budgeting really is all about, is prioritization. So, and it would also help you to defend the budget once you derive the budget. So I ask that you consider this, and it would initially be a little more time consuming and involve a lot of the different committees and members, but it's not necessarily a big added cost. And so and by the way, I understand that the survey garnered 5,200 responses to open-ended questions, which is pretty impressive. And I was going to ask you, this is a good example. Will you be coding those responses, or how will you be analyzing those responses to get the usable data from that? So that's just my suggestion that I want to put out there.
Thank you, Kevin. We do plan to continue to administer the survey on a yearly basis so that we can kind of track those baseline metrics of satisfaction with our various amenities and facilities and things like that. And then there's a component of the survey that deals with more planning level type questions. This last one had stuff regarding golf, the barns, trails, and another thing. And the long range planning committee is currently working on putting together another survey again for this upcoming year here.
Kevin, if you're interested, we're down a couple people on the long range planning committee, and if you're interested in joining us, we'd love to have you aboard. It doesn't take all that much time. We meet once a month.
As I was rambling on, I was afraid this would be misconstrued as volunteerism.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't want to put that on you. And I appreciate your comment. And I appreciate your analysis.
Yeah, I'm not going to dismiss that, but I will say, let me move into my house, a new house.
Can I just jump in there just one sec?
Sure,
Darby, if you go onto the Sun Valley website under the strategic planning button, you will see a lot of links to the strategic plan, and that'll give you more detail, the detail that you're talking about of wanting more of that information regarding that survey. It's in segments of the planning with the strategic planning documents.
Okay.
But yeah, it's posted on there.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the detail of the survey, but I think it's an opportunity to really delve deep into the issues and get really engaged the membership. So and like I said, my background, I deal with surveys as a means to an end for collecting data. But I mean, there's people that teach higher level collegiate college classes, and usually I work on a team of people to kind of develop these survey instruments and administer them. So just to eliminate all the bias and to maximize response rates. So, and like I said, once I move into my house and whatnot, maybe I can help out on that. Maybe I can volunteer.
We'd love to have your assistance, Kevin, and you are in good hands with the Long Range Planning Committee. There's a couple of academics on the committee. There's a couple of people that professionally do surveys for a living, and they are all contributing to a survey that was the first time ever for a survey of that magnitude to be done in this community's history. But we would love to have your additional input.
Well, and like I said, kudos to you for putting out a survey, and even just taking that first step of using a survey to get feedback. It's critical, and it's useful and helps you do your job and keeps the membership happy. But the survey I think it was a good survey, and like I said, 30% is respectable. So congratulations on that. And I hope I didn't carve out too much time out of your basketball game with that winded.
Thanks so much for giving us input.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Have a
Kevin.
good night.
Yeah. Good night. Bye.
All right, I'll go ahead and return you to the audience there.
I just have a quick response. Kevin doesn't need to be here for this, but I see that he's watching. Kevin, I want to say thank you. That was very graceful, and you sound like a really nice dude. And, once again, we're sorry that we missed you on that last meeting. I do want to say thank you for the kudos. We are getting a lot of mud slung at us in every direction for whatever small smidgen of political, nonsense that's left around here. But we appreciate it, and thank you so much.
It looks like Kevin does have his hand raised again. I'll just go ahead and bring him over here one more time. All right, Kevin, I've brought you over. You can unmute again.
I just want to say I look forward to meeting you all and working with this board in some capacity and contributing to this community in any way I can. But I'm physically far away right now, so it makes it a little different. But I am tuning in to the board meetings and doing what I can. So thank you.
Everyone participates in their own way, so we appreciate that, and that's something we try to recognize. Big reason why we like to get the videos and stuff on YouTube for people to be able to watch.
I really appreciate those posting those videos too, because like I said, that's the best way to learn about what's going on and what your biggest issues are and priorities. So you have a daunting task, and like I said, you're all volunteers, so thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks again, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Okay, anybody else for property owners' comments?
All right,
Okay.
move on. Do I got a motion to move into closed session?
Motion to move into closed session.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? All right, we'll see you guys over there.
Recording in progress.
What happened? We lost Steffi and John.
John's here. Don't say his name too many times. You'll summon him.
John.
What'd I say? It's like Beetlejuice.
Give Steffi another minute here.
Maybe she's catching up on the game.
It's over.
I was going to say, don't say that
It didn't
word.
end well. It sounds like it didn't end well. Didn't end well, Kim?
I don't know. I didn't see it, but the Sun is 2-0 Phoenix Suns. I'm rooting for Phoenix.
You can watch the highlights then, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Not the same, right?
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Is this a shuffleboard tournament you're watching?
I guess you could call it that. Shuffling balls into hoops. Isn't that what every game is about, right?
Pretty much. We're so
All right.
weird as humans, right?
Not sure what happened to Steffi.
Maybe
Let's-
just come back into open session.
I messaged her. Just
Oh,
let her know.
Well, I moved to return to open session at 9:10 p.m.
second.
All right, all those in favor? All right, so we have one motion to make after closed session. I move to add Sonia Volt and Brian Cope with Steffi Jones as part of our negotiating team for the Union Park.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, that is done. All right, we will move on to the reserve study. So this is coming before the board again now. This is something we had tasked Glenn with at the beginning, and the last time it came back around, it was decided that we would do it with in-house staff. That was apparently not feasible now that it is what we found out now. And so we have guidance from the auditor that we need to do an update, a level 3 update to the reserve study this year for audit purposes. And so at this point in time, because this has been delayed for so long now, we kind of need to get going on it. And the most expedient route for it would be to go with Schwint again and have them do an update for us. And we sent out a memo to the board here this afternoon with that. We had to confirm with Schwint because it has been a little while that they're still able to do that. And Joel Heverling, Joel, our accountant,
You
confirmed
had
with
it.
Schwint that they would be able to do that for us. So yeah, this time, you know, the plan is still to go out and find someone to do a level 1 to revamp the reserve study for next year's budget. That was what we were hoping to do this year, but that is not in the cards anymore at this point in time. So I will make the motion that the board approve the letter of engagement with Schwint Company as proposed in the addendum.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on that, Linda?
I looked through that and maybe I looked too fast, but I see nowhere where they say when they're going to deliver that, there's information that is in that report that they're going to give us that has to go into the pamphlet to the membership. Last year, they were just, I mean, Joel, we were at the last minute when I had to submit that to Unilect for printing, that I didn't know if I was even going to have that document.
Says in there an 8-week turnaround time maximum. In order to meet the association's desired due date as indicated, an 8-week turnaround time is required from the date we receive the requested information.
So if they get that tomorrow, then 8 weeks, right? Does
Well,
that even work?
because it's primarily for the audit.
Yeah.
But we're still in compliance, but last year's is still good. So
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, but we're working, and he's talking with them and confirmed a couple of things. One was because of the issues that, as you know, with Schwint, there's a lot of things in there that shouldn't be in there. So one of the things was that he confirmed in writing that we would go back to using the components instead of buildings that don't exist. So there was a confirmation in writing that they would make the changes that needed to be made in a timely manner to accommodate Joel for what he needs to do, whether it's for the budget or and the auditors. So
Okay.
they seem like that.
I'm just saying, last year we were right up to waiting until 2 o'clock in the afternoon for him to get, and there's just one thing that has to go in the budget that has to be provided by them. But I'm just saying it was scary. Because he kept saying, can you wait any longer? And I'm saying, I can't wait any longer. I have to get it to the printer. We're not going to have stuff out to the members on time. But we made it, but by the hair of our teeth. That's all. I just want to make sure. If it's 8 weeks, it looks like that they should have us something around the first week of September in there. And I can even live with the second week of September, because then all Joel has to do is copy, paste, and send to me.
Yeah, and we'll work with Joel to push on them as much as possible.
Okay.
It says there, if there's special circumstances that require less than 8 weeks, we can work to accommodate those needs.
Okay.
So it has a spot for us to put our desired due dates and stuff. So we'll push on that.
Thank you.
There any other discussion on this? All right. Well, we will call the question then. The motion was to approve the letter of engagement as presented in the addendum with Schwint & Company. All those in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. All right, and the last thing on our schedule for today is the budget calendar for this year, and I attached it as part of the agenda. Obviously, the big things for discussion are Wednesday, Thursday of next week are budget meetings, and we sent out an email to the board and the finance committee. That'll be a joint session of those two groups to do the presentations of the departmental budgets and allow discussion and questions on that. Finance committee has a meeting on the 21st?
7/21, yeah.
21. They'll review the budget again after those preliminary discussions, and then, any voting as necessary at that point for the finance committee. And then the board will have, meetings after that. And
On the 22nd or the next day.
Yeah, and then so the calendar,
well, that's a regular board meeting too. So
and then the calendar returns back, like it follows just for Linda's, because I'm sure Linda's going to want. So the calendar will go be along the calendar that you have. I'm sure, Linda. After
No,
the 20
actually, September ain't gonna work, folks. It's, if you think we're gonna be, the board and staff are gonna finalize the printer proofs on 9/27, you're not going to have anything to mail out on October 9th. I don't even know who wrote that date in there. That's a Sunday. So there isn't, it's October 9th, I believe, is a Sunday, and they're in the post office open going to take that mailing of those ballots. And you're right, you're at the very end of the month period. I would, I've been talking to AJ, and I've asked him to please look at an N&E calendar that's much different. And I just, if you mail out on October 9th, like it says on this schedule, you basically are going to give the membership less than 30 days to have their ballots before the AGM.
So,
I'd
just
love to
tell
know
us
who
the
did the
date.
schedule.
Well, I know who did do that sketch.
What date do we need to?
Linda, what dates do you recommend?
You know what I'd like to do is, rather than discuss this tonight, because we're already all tired, I have my calendar. Can I just send it to everybody?
Yeah, just those later dates, Linda, just change them. Like, just change them to whatever they're supposed to be.
And
And
I
let us
know,
know.
but what I'm going to say is, I want you to look at this because it still gives you time to do things. It just changes things a little bit, and it's easier for you to look at it because it is a little different.
Yeah, I would say, Linda, send that to me. I actually thought this was what you wanted to post. I'm sorry, I've gotten so many emails lately. I'm swimming a bit, but yeah, I thought this was what you were looking to discuss. But yeah, if you had an N&E calendar, why don't you send that to the board? We'll compare the two and we'll revise accordingly. And we'll and we run it by you, and we can. We'll discuss this calendar and the budget pretty much moving forward at every meeting here until it's approved for the membership to get.
Because I have no problem with any of the July or August stuff. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
I think it was a mistake, Linda. I'll be honest with you. I know what happened with that calendar. It should have gone back on track, and it didn't. So, like I said, we can revise it.
Hey, I see October 9th as a Saturday.
Yeah, that's what Linda said.
I thought she said Sunday.
Oh, I thought it was a Sunday. I'm looking at a calendar.
There's a calendar right next to the.
I'm looking at October 9th to mail it out, and it's got, it's a Saturday. You're right. Absolutely. I apologize.
What was that?
I'm just saying, I don't know how in the world you're going to have, you know what I mean, a company take it in. For instance, our deadline to Unilec to get them stuff is as close as possible to the 10th of September. And usually they've been able to accept the 15th and still get us out to the membership by the 2nd of October. My biggest concern right now, and I'll tell you that, and we'll see where we go the rest of the summer, is I don't know what's going on with USPS. I've heard so many horror stories that I can't even discuss it, about, lengthening the time of when stuff will be delivered. First class will be delivered. It'll no longer be 2 to 3 days. It'll be 4 to 5. So we're going to want to make sure we can get these packets out to the members in a really timely manner.
Yeah, there's not really a reason that whatever dates that you're talking about can't work. It really was because I moved those things. I moved them around, put them in the wrong place is what happened. Because it was supposed to go back to the way it was. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to work through that and go backwards from your dates.
Like I say, July and August are just fine. You're going to have the budget basically finalized, and you're going to be able to start putting, giving drafts to put into the booklet and everything else of the ballot, and the ballot, the whole 9 yards.
All right, well, yeah, I think if you send us the N&E calendar,
I
we'll
will.
compare
I
and
promise.
contrast.
I will.
We'll get this one updated to
Okay.
make sure it
Thank you.
reflects that. Josh?
Okay.
So I have some tentative dates for the candidate forums. Should I just wait till you guys add this stuff in here? Because
No. If you've got tentative dates, wonderful. Add it.
Okay. Well, previously, last year it was Saturday, September 19th and Wednesday, October 7th. So I would do Saturday, September 18th. And
September 18th.
yeah, September
And-
18th between 5 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday, October 6th. I need to check that against committee meetings though, but at least we can put that in there. I hate seeing the TBD and it's on me and it looks like
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
know.
huge slacker. So October 6th, let's do 7 to 9.
7 to 9.
Yeah. I think last year we did till 10 and that's just absurd.
Too long.
As
I
it's
can
9:24.
barely stay awake till 10 most days. Most days.
So if we could put those in as see if those work.
Plug them into those 2 days. That works.
Okay. Thank
Do
you.
you guys know anything you've got on the budget calendar, town hall budget meeting discussion? Is that actually going to be of the membership?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was just, you're going to talk about doing a town hall or if it's
Yeah,
going to be.
we were talking about, one thing long range planning talked about was combining the budget meeting with the strategic planning discussion with the community as well, and getting input on mission, vision, and values and stuff like that. We still have to hash out those details, whether that's feasible or practical to combine both of those two things. But it was something we discussed to try to decrease meeting overload on the membership
Okay, that works.
as we all sit here and have tons of meetings. We can understand what that means. Okay, well, yeah, Linda, if you want to email that to the board,
will.
we'll get things updated and
Put
we'll
Josh's stuff in there.
bring that calendar back at the next meeting, and we'll just keep kind of putting it on the agenda to continue to remind everybody.
That works.
So, all right, any other discussion on the budget calendar or the AGM calendar? All right. Well, then let's move to our last round of property owner comments, and then we all go to bed.
Yeah, still 7 people with us tonight. So if anybody that is with us here in the live Zoom meeting would like to jump in for property owners comments, just use the raise hand feature in Zoom and I'll bring you over to the meeting.
All right. Let's call it.
Okay.
All right, we
Move
got
to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?